Today's book of the day is On the Shortness of Life by the philosopher Seneca. This is another one of my favorite books that I've read over the course of my life because there's so much wisdom packed into such a tiny little book here. And honestly, if you only read the first 45 pages or so, that will give you a pretty good idea of what he's talking about. The later pages go into a lot of other stories, but for the most part, the first 45 pages of this book are really solid. And there's a lot of good quotes in here that will help you, orient your life and more specifically how you spend your time. Because at the end of the day, as we all know, that's the one thing that you can make more of. You can make more money, but you can never make more or get back the time you spend with yourself or with others. So one of the quotes that this book starts with is when Seneca says that, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested. But as you and I know, we don't always spend our time as wisely as we should. And I've been guilty of that over my life. Spent a lot of time when I was younger in my bedroom playing a lot of video games instead of studying. And although I don't necessarily regret that, there are a lot of things in our day-to-day lives that we'll waste time with, whether it's things that that are unproductive or complete time wasters, like just scrolling on our social media feeds. Yet it really helps to take a step back and read a book like this, because it reminds you that because sometimes we'll get lost and realize this time has gone by, but we'll keep doing it. And I think the best way to break out of that cycle is by immersing yourself in a subject or topic that talks about it, because then it really helps bring to light the issue that the time wasting is for all of us. Because it's one thing to waste money, but you can make more money even if it takes you a while. But if you waste time, you're never getting that back. So this book offers so many reminders of ways in which we can do that. And it also reminds us, not just, in the negative sense we're wasting time, but on the positive end of things, how beautiful it is that we're given time at all to do and achieve great things, which, as we've seen throughout history, there have been plenty of figures who didn't live that long but did achieve great things, like Alexander the Great, who died in his early 30s, yet by that time he'd conquered the known world. And he was able to achieve so much that Julius Caesar, when he was walking around Rome, and before he had become the Caesar and the leader of Rome, he would walk around and he was older than Alexander the Great was when he died, and he had gone up to a statue of Alexander the Great and basically broke down crying because Alexander had conquered the whole known world by his early 30s, and Julius Caesar had done nothing with his life. So it puts into perspective how incredible the things are that we can achieve if we set our minds to them and we don't waste the time that we're given. And it also reminds us, that sometimes great things take time, because Julius Caesar, he wasn't as successful as Alexander was in his early 30s, but eventually, he did achieve his goals and his dreams of becoming Roman emperor. So, even though we do waste time, it's not right to beat ourselves up about it. And again, when we take a step back and realize that we are doing that, it helps us to not do it further in the future. And some more quotes that I think are really relevant for not only our personal lives but also in business is when he says that people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they're most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. And a lot of people, and myself included in the past, have they won't want to spend money on investing in themselves, investing in others, investing in experiences. But investing in learning or experiences are a great way to spend money, because it shouldn't be seen as wasteful when you can pay to have someone teach you something that they took 20 years to learn. You cut your learning curve by 20 years, and you avoid wasting those own 20 years of your life figuring things out that have already been determined. And like Warren Buffett says, we only learn from the mistakes of others, but there's no rule that that those mistakes have to be made ourselves. So when it comes to squandering time, plenty of us will give our time away for free to people or to things that we don't really care about, and it's ironic because you're not getting that time back, but people are willing to spend money on things they don't need, on people they don't really enjoy spending time with, yet they'll save their money and not their time. So it's kind of ironic because one you can create more of and the other you can't. So that's something else to keep in perspective, because if you can buy time, which is essentially what investing in education and investing in people as well. If you own a business and you're hiring more people, that helps you spend more of your time, your finite time, on the things that really matter, and allows you to delegate tasks to other people to to maximize the efficiency of what you're working with. And another quote that Seneca has in this book that is great is, the man or woman who spends all his time on his own needs, who organizes every day as though it were his last, neither longs for nor fears the next day. And this kind of speaks to the idea of presence, and that when we spend each day as if it were our last, and we organize each of our days, at the end of the day, when we lay our heads down on the pillow, we can be happy with the progress we've made, and even if it's a little bit. If we're planning things out and being intentional about what we do each day, then we're not going to be upset that we've wasted time, and we're not going to long and hope for things that didn't happen, because we'll have made progress towards the goals that we seek. And it's ironic too, because Seneca says it's not it is a sign of a great man and one who is above human error not to allow his time to be frittered away. Yet many of the the greatest people in history, or prominent people in today's society, will waste time. So at the end of the day, we're only human. So it's no use beating yourself up for it, because everyone does it. But we can still take these ideas and these lessons and orient ourselves in a way that is going to maximize our time on Earth. And whether it's spending more time with your friends and family, or being more diligent and aware of how you spend time at work or on your business, it ends up making a big difference in the end, because what you end up focusing your time on will lead to tangible results for you, both personally and professionally. And there's one more thing that I want to end on here, is when Seneca talks about, he says, can anything be more idiotic than certain people who boast of their foresight? And he says that putting things off is the biggest waste of life. It denies us the present by promising the future. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. You are arranging what lies in fortune's control and abandoning what lies in yours. And this one really hits home because, in a lot of ways, when we're not, being intentional with our time, and we, are waiting for things to happen that, tomorrow or next week or next month, and we're looking forward to specific things. And not that we shouldn't look forward to specific things happening in our lives or future events, but it really takes away from what is in our own control. Because if we're focused on things that are happening tomorrow or next month or next week, when we do that, we take control away from ourselves and put control into the hands of of fortune or fate or whatever you'd like to call it. But abandoning what lies within our own control can definitely be harmful. So, as Seneca says, and as Benjamin Franklin has said, why put off until tomorrow what you can do today? A lot of us will wait and say, oh, I can do that tomorrow, I can do that the next day, whether it's, calling a client to give them bad news, or, calling a parent or a friend that you'd like to catch up with. It doesn't ever help to put these things off, because, it becomes less likely that they're actually going to get done. So, by maintaining a sense of presence and, not letting ourselves fall by the way of expectancy and hoping things will happen, but instead taking control of our own lives and of the situations that we can control, doing that is going to make a big difference, in all of our personal and professional lives. So I hope you enjoyed today's book of the day on the Shortness of Life by Seneca, and we'll be back again with another one tomorrow. Thank you.